Alrighty, here we are. Well, oh, what's going on? I gotta mute that. I don't fucking hear myself. Okay, what's up, everyone? Now, I had a couple things planned for tonight. Of course, I was listening to various shows and whatever else at work. Some news and current events and whatnot. I was like, hey, yeah, I can make a show out of this. A couple things I could talk about. Try to maybe get a little bit of a theme going. Of course, by the time I got home, I forgot half of what I was going to talk about. And then I also remembered, wait a minute, I can't even play video clips. They'll lag to hell. It'll defeat the whole purpose. So, they always told me I had a voice for radio. Or was it a face made for radio? I don't know. Maybe both. Maybe neither. I guess this is going to be a audio only podcast for a while. Like you're listening to Bill Burr's podcast. But that's okay for now, I guess. I was looking at what should be the minimum requirements for a decent streaming setup. I believe I had them pulled up here. No, that's a picture of a yacht. Technical difficulties. Hold on a second. Let's see, minimum requirements. Okay, so basic streaming, which I would imagine is maybe 480p video. You're just gonna have a camera on, maybe a couple different media sources. I'd love it if I had a TriCaster, one of those types of setups, because, well, let's face it, that's second to none. That's kind of like what high-end streamers or news stations and the like use that. I remember when I was in like 8th grade or something, I took TV production, and which surprises me because of the school I was in 8th grade. Very small school. Somehow they had a fucking TriCaster. I'm like, wait, aren't these things like 30 fucking grand, and you guys bought this for your morning school news that half the school doesn't actually watch? But yeah, I digress. So the minimum requirements here, you want at least 8 gigs of RAM. Well, this machine has 4. You want a Core i5 or Ryzen 5. This machine has, I never remember because I barely ever used this before I started this channel. An A6 Radeon R4, A6 9200, 5 compute cores. There's no fucking way it's 5 cores. I guess that would be enough, but then the graphics card, which is the main issue, this thing, as far as I know, doesn't have anything other than built-in graphics. And for better performance, as in not the minimum, but the recommended, an i7, or an NVIDIA GTX 2060 or RTX 3060. I'd basically have to buy a whole tower and build it myself, and that's just money. So, like I said, this is going to be a basically a radio show until I get my shit together, get myself a better setup. Now, as far as the things I was going to talk about, I guess I should have had these pulled up and done some show prep. Um, this is the most unprofessional thing. Right, right. Well, it was some political thing. I don't remember. Um, Fuck it. Let's just comment on whatever the hell our so called greatest president is doing in the last few days. Now, I'm not one of these people who worships Donald Trump and thinks he can do no wrong. Granted, some of the shows I watch are hosted by people like that. I remember, I think it was during his first run at president, he said that he could walk out onto Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and no one would care. Well, most people would. I think that honestly would cost him quite a bit of votes, but as far as the people I'm talking about, no. In fact, I'll just go ahead and say it. Since this show will, in a sense, heavily lean on the Hake Report and Jesse Lee Peterson, since I do watch them quite often. One of the callers on the Hake Report loves to harp on the whole Epstein thing. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, was the whole Maxwell thing, how he's going to pardon her. Anyway, the caller said something along the lines of, if it came out that he was on this list and there's proof, there's like video, picture, whatever evidence of him molesting children, that's the line right there. Like, that's where I wouldn't vote for him anymore. And this guy loves Trump. But James Hake said, I think I'd still vote for him even after that, because you know what, he's right and he's our best choice, and something along the lines of that doesn't matter as far as his ability to lead a country goes. And I guess technically speaking, he's not wrong. I mean, I'm sure there have been plenty of other presidents that have done sexual immoralities that made fine leaders. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the 44th president had some, let's say, undesirable dealings in that category. Can't say too much, because, none of that's actually true, but that, to me, begs the question, is that really important when selecting a president? Morality, or whether or not they're a felon, which is kind of relevant to this past election. And most people would say, oh no, especially Trump supporters, because many of them do worship the ground the man walks on. Now, to me, it's a little more complicated, and I would hope to most people it's a little more complicated. Oh shit, the chat. What's up, RDF? What's on the agenda? I don't know. I'm just kind of going with it. I'm stream of consciousness tonight, I guess. Really sucks, like I said, not having that visual element, because then I could find like news stories or clips of hood fights on Twitter or whatever, and offer my commentary on it. But this is gonna have to do. So, as far as that goes, uh, I say it is important for the leader of not just the country, but essentially the leader of the free world, like it or not. That's kind of what the president of the United States is. Or is it the leader of Israel is the leader of the free world? We won't get into all that tonight. We'll start out slow. I would say that morality should be more important than. Oh, what did I just do? I fucked up my volume. Morality should be more important than even, say, policy or ideology in a sense. You got like the basic stuff that people would say, "Oh, I'm voting for Trump because of this. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because of this." Oh, well, I'm a Christian, so I have to vote Trump. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but there have been plenty of so-called Christians that rightfully call Trump out on certain things. Cheating on his wife, the whole prostitute thing. I mean, I would agree with, say, like James Hake's view of saying, who cares? I mean, we don't know if any of it's true and it's none of our business. Sure. But the issue of what kind of person are we electing to lead our country? And does it matter? Because he doesn't really pull the fucking strings, so to speak. There are powers beyond the president. There are special interest groups, and without even getting too conspiratorial, there are lobbies, and there's always going to be someone in their fucking ear telling them, "Well, no, you shouldn't. Don't do that. No, you can't. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't release those documents. You can't do it." I mean, he ran on releasing not only the Epstein thing, but the MLK and JFK assassination. And he gets into office, what does he does? Yeah, the MLK stuff got released. He did a complete 180 on the assassination of JFK. Said, oh, there's too much, the public's not ready for it. Well, is the public ever really ready for anything? I would say no. Most people aren't. Because you give them one thing, and if you don't give them the big picture, and most people don't even think big picture, they focus in on one aspect of something and obsess over it, and then take that and turn it into, oh, well, it could be this, it could be that. Well, Epstein could have been doing this because, the Jews were telling him, or Ghislaine Maxwell's dad is a Mossad agent. Oh, maybe Trump's involved in it, and that's why he doesn't want to release it. People just go fucking crazy with the conspiracies. I'm guilty of it too. It's fun. I love a good conspiracy. Most people do, even the ones that pretend that they're debunkers and, oh, well, this isn't true. Even the most hardcore, like, globe earther loves to get into a conversation with a flat earther. Even if they don't believe the earth is flat, they still love that conspiracy mindset and arguing with people about it. It's just like a consistent uh, mindset of wanting conflict, basically, even if it's not real conflict. It's just ideological back and forth, which always devolves into you're a fucking idiot. No, you're a fucking idiot. Oh, well, you're evil. Your mindset is destroying the world. Oh, well, you're just dumb and you need to. Ooh, the Dunning Kruger effect. You ever heard of that? Look that up. I've gotten that a few times. Basically saying, oh, the dumber you are, the smarter you think that you are. And yes, I believe that is true to an extent. But again, with this stream of consciousness, I went way off topic. I need to make myself like show notes and try to stick to some kind of what's the word? They always used to use it in school. Not itinerary, something else with an R. I don't know. I'm stupid. But back to the whole morality thing, which is kind of ties into it. I would say that people as a certain black and slow man who's semi-popular on the internet says, people are evil. I wouldn't say everyone is always evil. I don't go to the extreme he does, but that's where this morality thing comes into it. You can't vote for president based on morality because especially nowadays, I would say this probably wasn't too big of a thing, at least before the rise of the internet. You get two people running for office, each one's gonna have political ads, right? And the ads aren't necessarily gonna be about, oh, well, this is what I want to do, this is why I'm good for the job, this is why you should vote for me. It's gonna be, no, this is why the other person is bad. Look at they stomp kittens and rape children. This is why you shouldn't vote for them. At least as long as I've been alive and I've seen these ads, it's always the same thing. They, they show the other person's picture. Usually they're making like an angry face or something, and they put it in black and white. And they got the music in the background that sounds kind of sinister, and the voice is saying like, oh, this is Kamala Harris. When she was the DA in California, she locked up thousands of innocent pot-smoking black teenagers. And then the music will change, and they'll put up a picture of Trump. This is Donald Trump, and he never did anything of the sort. In fact, he pardoned hundreds of black teenage pot smokers at the end of his last term. Vote for Trump. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve of this message. And it's the same fucking shit. Year after year after year. Every 4 years. Whatever. Which is why I consider myself to be apolitical, if anything. People say, oh, are you a conservative? You could call me that. Or are you a liberal? I've been called that before. I don't consider myself a liberal. I see the two-party system for what it is. The comedian Lewis Black, a funny Jew, once said, the two-party system is a bowl of shit in front of a mirror. Or as someone else said, who I can't think, I think it was from a movie, it's a big shit sandwich and we all gotta take a bite. And yet you got people that are so dumb, so wool over the eyes, that they argue with each other over which bowl of shit's gonna taste better. Oh, well, this one has brown sugar in it. Oh, forget that, man. I got maple syrup in mine. When the reality is, no matter who you fucking vote for, you're gonna get fucked. You're gonna get the sandpaper cop up your ass. And the other side's gonna say, "Oh, see, we told you." And then the next time around, the other side wins, and your side says, "Yeah, see, we told you." Politicians are all liars. They're all con men, and unfortunately, con women too, since we allowed women into politics, which makes no sense. They're only in it for their own best interest. They don't care about, in the cases of governors or senators, or I'd even go so far as to say city councilmen or mayors. They don't care about bettering their city or bettering their state, making lives better for their constituents. No, they care about putting fucking money in their pocket, getting their perceived power, and holding on to it for as long as they can. Which is why whenever I see a Trump supporter on like a show or on the news or just people calling into shows, whatever, it's like, how fucking dense are you? Do you really think that anything that person's gonna do, you're gonna be able to say, oh, well, you're gonna wake up in the morning like, oh, shit, sit up, get out of bed, and, oh, yeah, Trump's president. That, man, my life is just so much better. I can get up and pull the stick out of my ass and, smile like a dumbass while I walk to work and the sun's shining on me. But, oh, if Kamala won, I'd get up and, throw my fucking cat against the wall, punch a hole in my TV every time I see her fucking face on it. I've actually seen that. There were videos, lots of videos when Trump won the last election, of Kamala supporters just melting the fuck down, breaking their TVs, screaming into their cameras, crying. Pretty sure I saw one where the guy kicked his dog. Yeah. And it's like, how can you be so involved in something that, for one, you have no control over the outcome. For two, the outcome doesn't really affect you in any meaningful way. Because there's only one meaningful way that a president or any government official can affect your life. And that's changing fucking prices, fucking with your money, taxes, fucking up the economy, making groceries and gas and cars and consumer goods and rent and whatever the fuck else prices go up or down. That's all I fucking care about. You want to get rid of the illegals? Great. The illegals do not affect me on a day-to-day basis. The economy does. You could argue that, okay, the illegals affect the economy. And then what about, oh, well, the wars. Everyone always says, oh, well, if Kamala won, we would have been in more wars. Okay. But I would say that this isn't fucking World War II. Our economy isn't that fragile that if we get involved in a war, and let's say we would have got involved in Ukraine and Russia, which I don't even think Kamala would have done that. I don't think she would have been that dumb to directly involve us. That's really not going to fuck with the price of anything. Your groceries aren't going to get more expensive. Your gas prices probably won't fluctuate too much beyond what they already do. People's politics are based on emotional connections to convictions or ideology. In my case, I would say, okay, I'm a Christian. I want to vote for the most Christian candidate. Okay. Oh, wait, there are none. And it's also based on mostly just, I think this is especially, like I said, since the internet and maybe since Obama, maybe before, I don't know. I'm only 30. It's mainly based on also pissing off the other side. I would have said before Trump got elected, I was like, you know, maybe he is slightly better choice for the country. I definitely don't want that. I almost said something that would have got me banned. I definitely don't want that female in the Oval Office. But I was more like, and I am guilty of it. I was more like, I want Trump to win so I can throw it in the faces of all the liberals I know. And I did. When I talked to my father afterwards, that was a fun conversation. Watching all the liberal meltdowns after the fact. It's entertainment. But I don't agree with probably more than half of the shit that Trump's done since he's been in there. For instance, the whole Doge thing, yeah, that's great. Maybe they went a little too far, maybe they didn't go far enough. But to then take $200 million of taxpayer money, because it's not like Trump's spending his own money, to build a fucking ballroom at the White House, you don't need that at the fucking White House. You don't need to have your lavish parties with all your rich cocksucking friends. Not on my dime, you don't. But then to say something good about him cutting, like, a lot of Social Security, disability, whatever. Now, it's not a blanket statement, but I can speak on my neighbor who is 2 years younger than me, lives off of disability, doesn't work, can work, is not disabled, not in the slightest. But he's living off of taxpayer money, so he can sit around in his little place, smoking pot, watching anime, and jerking off all day. That shit has gotta go. And I'm glad that there's finally somebody willing to make that happen, and that somebody is Donald Trump. But I'm of the type who looks at things a little more critically and isn't just hold the fucking party line, or not even in this case with Trump. It's more extreme than that. It is a cult. MAGA is a cult. And if you doubt me on that, look back to 2016, 2017, 2018, all the way up until, I guess it's still going, I don't know, but even up until January 6th of 2021. QAnon. If that's not a cult, then cut off my fucking left nut and feed it to the dog. And that cult-like thinking, for me, I was a part of it at one time. I was the most political person of everyone I knew. All my friends, my family members. I was the guy that would constantly be talking about that shit. And now I look back on it and I'm like, man, the fuck was wrong with me? And there is an answer to that question. I won't break that down too much. But a lot of it has to do with orienting yourself towards centering yourself on the wrong thing. You say, what is the right thing? Well, to me, that's Christ. Everything you do should be based in that belief in Christ. If you're a Christian, you can't just, oh, I go to church. Oh, I pray. I got a cross on my wall. I read the Bible. You go to church on Sunday, and then by Sunday night, you piss drunk, jerking off to porn, stealing from people, whatever you do. I don't know what people do. I know they do a lot of things that they shouldn't do as far as being a Christian goes. But a lot of people, especially in the vitriol, the intense firestorm that is modern American politics, they replace their religion with the state. They replace Christ, they replace God with the government, with a political figure, with a political ideology. It's like a civil religion. I want to look that up in case I have the phrasing wrong. It is right. A civic religion, the implicit religious values of a nation as expressed through public rituals and symbols, ceremonies on sacred days, at sacred places. Now, America has all of these things. And we have our public rituals. What do you think July 4th is? And hey, I partake. I love some fireworks. But it's an interesting thought. If we really were a Christian nation, which we are not, we wouldn't have obelisks at the Capitol. We wouldn't have the Washington Monument. No, that would be a giant cross. We wouldn't have Congress convening in a room where come to think of it, I haven't actually seen the front of that room. I would imagine there's a big American flag there. No, there'd be a cross there. It would be focused on God. There wouldn't be a separation of church and state. They would exist in symphony with one another. We would have laws based more on morality instead of laws based on even, to say, liberty to that extent, which a lot of our laws are not based in that, which is one gripe I have with the libertarians. But I don't want to get too in depth right now, man. No, it's 8 o'clock. I got some shit to do. I gotta work in the morning. So, all in all, I would say this was an okay stream for my first one. I'll try to set up my thing here. I need to automate some of this so I'm not fucking around with it at the end of the stream. Oh, yeah, I didn't make a post-show picture. Alright, so it's going to say broadcast commencing. But it's not. And with that, America, well, the whole world, I could have viewers anywhere in the world.